What's up, everyone? Welcome to the FAA podcast day edition. As we try to get this show in before the wild card games start at 4:30 Eastern today, but Jimmy should be on. Hopefully, if his internet gets fixed. But great weekend of wild card football so far. 4 out of the 6 games finished, and 2 more on tap today. Like I mentioned, got the Penguins game rolling right here on my phone as well, as they moved times to allow everyone to watch the Steelers game at 4:30, moving their time slot from 6 to 1. So, on Saturday, wildcard Saturday, the Texans annihilating the Browns 45-14. This young team, and that's been the story for a lot of the teams that have won so far out of the 4 games. It's youth. The inexperience has not mattered for 3 of the 4 winners that have moved on to the divisional round. We'll see. We'll see if that happens again today. All 4 teams, though, have playoff experience on their roster. But in this one, though, there he is.
Heyo.
Internet's back.
Yeah, that was annoying.
Didn't get very far. As you know, I always have to wait for the Instagram to go live. So, but yeah, I mentioned before I started talking about the stats in this game, the inexperience hasn't mattered so far in the playoffs. 3 of the 4 teams that have won have really not had much playoff experience on their roster, and that one team that wasn't was the Chiefs. But yeah, Caroline's Browns going down and going hard.
Yeah. Yeah, those 2 pick sixes just sealed the game. I think she asked me to turn it off after the 2 pick sixes.
Yeah, Joe Flacco, other than those interceptions, though, was pretty solid, at least statistically. 34 of 46, 73.9%. Let's 307, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 3 carries for 13 yards. Let's go. It's a good Pittsburgh Monday. Penguins just took the lead on the Kraken, 1-0, so it's a great time. Anyways, yeah, Flacco, though, I mean, you got to give him credit for getting this team to the playoffs. Kevin Stefanski definitely in the Coach of the Year running. But yeah, CJ Stroud.
He looks good.
Excellent. 16 of 21, 76.2%, 274, 3 touchdowns. Yeah, I mean, it's
Makes
tough.
me eat my words about what I was saying about him in the preseason. I remember kind of pounding the pavement, being like, I think this guy just needs to ride the bench for a year. But hey, he's figured it out.
Devin Singletary for Houston, leading the game in rushing, 13 carries, 66 yards, touchdown, 3 catches for 4 yards. Kareem Hunt, 2 touchdown day in the loss, 8 carries, 26 yards, touchdown, 5 catches, 9 yards, and a touchdown on 6 targets. Nico Collins, not as good as the Colts game, but still pretty solid, leading the game in receiving, 6 for 96, touchdown on 7 targets. And Njoku was a big factor for the Browns offense once again, double-digit target day, 11, caught 7 of those for 93 yards. And defensively, how about the game? I mean, I'm going with the 2 pick six guys, but Christian Harris is the number 1 of those 2. Linebacker for the Texans, 8 tackles, 7 solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, pass deflection, QB hit, and a 36-yard pick 6. Excellent performance by the second-year man out of Alabama. I believe second year, maybe third. Steven Nelson as well, corner for the Texans, 5 tackles, 4 solos, 3 pass deflections, 82-yard pick 6. Texans plus 2.5 went outright over 44.5. easily. 59.
Yeah.
The other wild card game on Saturday, Chiefs 26-7 drubbing of the Dolphins. Kind of felt like Kansas City. Felt like here that when it does feel like here in Kansas City, minus 27 at in Kansas City during this game. But yeah, I'm 0 by the way on picks this weekend. If my two teams lose today, I'll be 0-6, which is great. But anyways, the Dolphins had this. They were in this game 7-13, and then 7-16 at halftime. I was surprised that they were not able to run the ball. The Chiefs defense did an excellent job of stopping that, and then they just could not get the passing game going consistently enough. And the Dolphins' offensive line also couldn't protect Tua either. So those were the major issues for Miami anyways, and why they lost this one. I think that Vic Fangio, I don't know if he wants to be a head coach at his age now, but he should be considered if he does want to be one, because this Dolphins defense, to do what they did in this game, they gave the team a chance with a litany of backups. They were missing 6 starters on defense. They held the Chiefs to 4 field goals in the red zone. And they were playing with, Melvin Ingram, Bruce Irvin, Justin Houston, like Malik Reed. So I think it was a great defensive performance. I know they gave up 26 points, but I think the Dolphins defense was not the reason why they lost this game. It was the Chiefs defense was the reason why the Dolphins lost. Mahomes, go ahead.
I was going to say that defense was genuinely really surprisingly good for the Chiefs. Like, I guess they've had a very solid defense all year, but I was expecting a little bit more from the Dolphins, especially with how they like to run like interesting concepts, and Mike McDaniels likes to be very, unique with his play calling. But yeah, this is probably the best defensive performance of the entire wild card weekend so far. I mean, it was a shutdown on all measures.
Yeah, just makes me annoyed because it's the Chiefs for one, and with the defense, it really gives them a chance, I think, the rest of the way, if they can get enough offensively. But Mahomes, 23 of 41, 56.1%, 262 touchdown, 2 carries for 41 yards. And that's why the Dolphins had a chance, because Mahomes was not playing that well. You saw him miss multiple throws. And, of course, just like they've done all season, the Chiefs have had drops. Travis Kelce had 2 drops, and they led the league in drops. I think they had 33 in the regular season. So, yeah, I mean, again, I don't know if they have the offense to continue on in the postseason, but they definitely have the defense to do it. Tua, 20 of 39, 51.3%, 199, 1 touchdown, a pick, 3 carries for 25 yards. I know they talked about this on the broadcast, that the Dolphins have. That's one of the decisions they have this offseason is paying Tua, because his 5th-year option is next season. And then they got to decide pretty much this offseason if they want to pay him. And I agreed with who was on the call. I can't remember it. Mike Tirico, I think, and Jason Garrett. I agreed. They said that, yes, they should. I agreed. I think Tua should definitely, the Dolphins should pay him. I don't know if you're going to find a better player especially that like he knows this system. He needs more help. Like the offense, they need to get some linemen. I think Tron Armstead has struggled this year at left tackle. Austin Jackson has been horrendous at right tackle. So if they can get some help at the tackle positions, maybe find a more dynamic tight end. I know they don't really use the tight end; they use them more as a blocker, which that's why Durham Smythe has been really solid for them. But I think they need a more dynamic tight end in the receiving game. And then they just need to get all their players back on defense healthy, and they'll be okay on that side of the ball, I think. So, but yeah, I do agree. Tua should be the quarterback of the future for Miami.
Yeah, especially in the situation the Dolphins are in now. They're in a win now state. They probably see the division as wide open, even though they didn't win it this year. They have the defense. They have the defensive coaching that they want. They have the head coach they want. They have the weapons on offense they want. You're not going to find a better QB in free agency or in a trade, and you're not going to want to draft a QB in the mid-20s and immediately tell him you are a playoff QB. You need to perform like one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how much Miami wants to give Tua. Maybe they're thinking bridge deal. Maybe give him something like a 3-year deal and then work from there. I don't know how much they'd be excited to do something like 6 or 7 years, especially after this performance. I think they really want to see next year as a chance to see him play better in playoff games. And I think they kind of see this game as like, hey, this is a very weird game. This is negative 20 degrees out. It was your first playoff game starting. I mean, it was very awkward for everyone involved. So maybe we'll give you the caveat and just the grace of just, hey, this is a very very poor weather game. It was really cold. We're a Miami team. We play in 80, 90-degree weather games every day, every Sunday for most of the season. So maybe they're just gonna give them that grace. But you really want to see something from Tua next year to really justify more than a bridge contract.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I said, they pretty much have to pay him this offseason. They really don't. They could wait till next offseason, franchise tag him next year, and then work out a deal. But then you run the risk. You run the risk of Tua leading the league in passing yards for a second straight year because they're going to have pretty much the same weapons because Jalen Waddle and Tyreek aren't going anywhere. Raheem Mostert isn't going anywhere. Devon A-Chain ain't going anywhere. So they're going to have all the same pieces, running backs, wide receiver wise.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, they just get the better offensive line in front of them. Again, I think he would have a chance at leading the league passing for a second straight year. And then the bill goes up. So that's why.
And franchise tagging a player, also kind of has the same effect as arbitration proceedings for baseball players. Like it could really hurt some feelings. Like it create a lot of resentment between player and organization. There's a risk on both sides, and I think Tua and the Dolphins are just in the worst place imaginable because clearly Tua has a lot of weaknesses that were exploited, especially in this playoff game. And there is a limitation to his play. But at the exact same time, there is no better option for the Dolphins right now. They are in a win now mode. They built this team to be win now around Tua. You can't plug in a rookie quarterback or a QB you can find on the market that would do better in Tua at this time.
Yeah. Tua here in this one, 20 of 39, 51.3%, 199, one touchdown pick, 3 carries for 25 yards. Pacheco, 24 carries, 89 yards, touchdown, lead the game in rushing, 1 catch, -1 yard. How about the rookie, Rashee Rice, has been fantastic for the Chiefs, and they might have found their guy to be the number one. 8 catches, 130 yards, touchdown, 12 targets. Excellent performance by Rice. Kelsey, double-digit targets. I mentioned did have 2 drops of the 3 incompletions his way, 7 for 71 on 10 targets. And then defensively, how about the second-year man, George Karlaftis for Kansas City? 6 tackles, 3 solos, 1.5 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 3 QB hits. They're like the opposite of the Packers. Packers have a lot of young guys on offense, first and second-year guys. That's the Chiefs' defense. They have a lot of first, second-year guys on their defense. So that's scary. Steve Spagnuolo, great job defensively there.
Yeah, you mentioned Rashee Rice. At halftime, I got a trade offer from someone in my dynasty league for him. I was like, nope, not happening. This is my guy.
Chiefs, the only favorite to cover this week so far, -4.5, under 43.5, as we knew this one would go under. If you bet the over, I don't know what you're smoking, but go Pack, go!
Smoked.
Go Pack, go!
How about them Cowboys? Stephen A. Smith is having a great day.
I was gonna say, were you gonna do the Stephen A. just like smirk and laugh?
Coming up, cowboy hat and cigar, just
Packers 48-32 over the Cowboys. Excellent performance. This team, it reminds me of like the Giants teams that won the Super Bowl against the Patriots, coming in as a wild card. This was the first ever number 7 team to win since that 7 seed has been implemented a couple years ago. Going to get the second one today at 4:30 Eastern. Just saying. But yeah, the Packers, excellent job. Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love. I mean, is it going to be 3 straight for the Packers?
You saw my tweets. You saw my tweets. You know how sad I was at this revelation. The crazy thing, too, I saw a graphic. Jordan Love and CJ Stroud essentially had the exact same stat line in their playoff games. It was genuinely absurd.
He had a perfect passer rating at halftime.
Wow.
And it ended up just short of that. But, yeah, I mean, right now, Jordan Love over the last, I think it's 4 or 5 weeks, he's throwing for like 300 plus a game. He has like 21 touchdowns and like 2 interceptions, something like that. It's ridiculous. This kid is on fire.
He's a completely different QB than the QB I saw when the Vikings came into Green Bay and won. Like that, this is a completely different quarterback. Honestly, both those teams are completely different teams.
Yeah. The Cowboys, they are in deep shit.
They really are.
Mike McCarthy, there are rumblings about his job. There are Bill Belichick rumors as well. So we will see. It'll probably take 1 or 2 more days, I think, and then Jerry will make a decision. But yeah, it's not great. The Cowboys continue their NFL history streak of 13 straight playoff appearances to not make an NFC championship game. Yeah.
I think I saw another stat. Since the inception of the Houston Texans have more playoff wins than the Dallas Cowboys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yikes, man.
And they should have had another one. The freaking Texans should have beaten
Raiders? Was it?
No, I'm thinking I think it was Brady when they had a playoff game in Houston. Maybe it was the Chiefs. I don't remember. Anyways, Dak 41 of 60, 68.3%, 403, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, 6 carries for 45 yards. This one was 27 zip. Cowboys made it a game late. It did start to get scary when it got to a 2-possession game with like 3:25 to go. I was like, no friggin' way. There's too much time. I don't like it. Just recover the onside kick, get first down. But they got it done, luckily. Mentioned Jordan Love. Yeah, like you said, same stat line, same completion percentage as Stroud, 16 to 21, 76.2%, 272, 3 touchdowns. Like I said, just short of perfect passer rating, 158.3, 157.2 for Love here. Aaron Jones, Cowboy killer. This guy led the league in rushing over the last 3 weeks of the regular season. 350 plus yards, and then he puts up 21 carries, 118 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a 13-yard reception. He has 9 career touchdowns now against the Cowboys, I believe, in 5 games. So, yeah, he destroys the Cowboys whenever he plays them. And the Packers in AT&T Stadium are also undefeated, by the way.
Yeah, playoffs and regular season.
They are 6-0 all time at AT&T Stadium, 3-0 against the Cowboys in the regular season, 3-0 or 2-0 against the Cowboys in the playoffs, and they are 1-0 in the Super Bowl. That's where they beat the Steelers in Super Bowl 45. The Romeo Doubs was excellent. The middle of the field catches. I mean, also Jordan Love just was crazy. And I mentioned about the quarterback thing with Green Bay. He literally looks like Rodgers. He does the throw off of no feet thing where he jumps up in the air just slightly off the ground and he throws it. Dude, it's scary that he does the same stuff.
This just gives me more belief that the Vikings need to draft a QB round 1 this year. Because, I mean, it's worked with Green Bay, and it worked with the Chiefs. And, like, you just re-signed Kirk Cousins for 2 years. Let him finish out his careers, because I think Vikings are still probably borderline playoff team with Kirk Cousins. You have a guy behind him that can play in 2 years after some marinating and training. I mean, come on, guys. It's the most obvious year to do the Packer thing because you have a good enough QB to start, and then you have a good enough draft spot to draft a pretty highly touted quarterback that can be a project that you can have for a year or two underneath Cousins. But we're not. We're probably not. We're idiots. We're never going to win a Super Bowl. Okay, I'm sad. All right.
So you got to re-sign Cousins, start him next year off the Achilles, hope he has a banger of a year, and then trade him for primo picks next season.
Who knows? I mean, it could work. It worked with the fucking Packers twice. It worked for the Chiefs.
CD, I mean, again, he had a really solid game. 100 yards, 9 catches, 110 yards, 17 targets. That's about what he's been averaging the last month of the season plus.
Mm-hmm.
This is crazy. He didn't have a lot of help. In this one though, with Dak throwing for 400 yards and 60 times, they got a lot of targets. Michael Gallup also over 106 for 103 on 6 targets. Jake Ferguson a hat trick. Also double-digit catches, 10 receptions, 93 yards, 3 touchdowns, 12 targets. Big game for Ferguson, career highs in all those categories. And defensively, Darnell Savage.
Yeah.
Packers safety, 4 tackles, 3 solos, pass flexion, 64-yard pick 6. That pretty much broke it for Green Bay. Made it 27 zip. Packers plus 7.5 go into Dallas and win over 52.5 80 in that game. I didn't see that game going that high scoring. I thought the over was going to hit, but like that was crazy. And the final one yesterday, Lions. How about the Lions? Restore the roar, 24-23 over the Rams. First playoff win in 33 years since 1991. Yeah, I mean, congrats. I know we all picked the Rams. John lone wolfed the Lions on Friday, but I wasn't mad about. I didn't really care who won this one. I liked both teams, and happy my brother-in-law got to see a win again. He was like a couple years old when the Lions last won. So,
excuse me.
bless you, sir. Matthew Stafford gets beat by his old team, 25 of 36, 69.4%, 367, 2 touchdowns. The quarterback play in this game was, oh my God, off the charts. These two are slinging it, especially early. The first half I thought was a lot more entertaining than the second. Second half is a lot of defense, with the Lions holding the Rams to 9 points never mind. No, it was what was it 13-7? I don't remember. No, it was 21-7 at halftime, I think. 21-10. I don't remember. It was too long ago. Yesterday, you know.
Lots happened since then.
Right. The Penguins have scored 2 goals now, so you know. Anyways, yeah, the defense in the second half was really. I mean, Aaron Glenn should be getting a head coaching job just based off this performance alone, because the Rams consistently moved the ball, but when they got to the red zone, the Lions D like held up brick wall on that goal line. So, and also it was interesting. I didn't like McVay in the red zone. Like I don't think they ran the ball once in the red zone. It was ridiculous. I know they weren't really getting a lot of yards running on the day, but I remember the first possession in the red zone where they kicked a field goal and got their first points of the day of 7-3. They threw it 3 straight times, 3 straight incompletions. Matthew Stafford at one point was 0 for 6 in the red zone. So I thought that was a big reason why the Rams might have not scored in the red zone, because, again, run the ball, like give it a try at least. So I don't know. But yeah, credit to Aaron Glenn, that Detroit defense, for standing up. And City of Detroit, I hope you had a lot of Pedialyte today available. I hope the stores were open late or early. I hope the stores were open early this morning so they could recover. Everyone hopefully recovers from the celebration, unless the celebration continues today, because I know a lot of people have off on MLK Day. Happy MLK Day, by the way. Jared Goff, 22 of 27, 81.5%, 277, 1 touchdown. And he was perfect when not pressured in this game. 22 of 22. It's crazy. Kyron Williams led the game in rushing, 13 carries, 61 yards, 9-yard reception as well. Puka Nacua, I mean, I hate to see the season end for the kid because he just kept breaking records. He broke the rookie receiving record in this game, in a playoff game. Broke DK Metcalf's record in 9 receptions, 181 yards, a touchdown on 9 targets. I mean, what is he going to do in year 2? Like, break Calvin's record? Like,
Probably at this rate.
So, yeah, 1,400 plus yards for this guy. Broke the rookie receiving yards and receptions records. Just crazy find in the 5th round out of BYU for Les Snead and Co. Also over 100 though was Lions wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown, 7 for 110 on 9 targets, and probably the hottest defensive player in the league right now. Aiden Hutchinson is my defensive player of the game. 6 tackles, 4 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 5 QB hits. Again, he was my pick. I think it was this year. I think this year he was my pick for defensive player of the year. I know he's not going to win that based off his sack numbers. I think he only had like 12 and a half or something like that. I say only, and that's a lot, but not nearly as much as the leaders up there with TJ Watt, Daniil Hunter, and co. See, I plugged him in there. I plugged Daniil Hunter
My
in.
guy, my guy.
But yeah, the Rams did cover this one plus 3.5 under 53.5. Did not see that under though. This game, they were going back and forth in that first quarter, and I was like, bro, this game is going to go crazy. And then the defenses came to play in the second half. News-wise, college football news, Washington has their guy. It is Arizona head coach Jedd Fisch. This is going to, again, the dominoes just like keep falling. You know, you get the Alabama Nick Saban retirement, and then you have everything after that. Kalen DeBoer, Washington to Alabama. Now Jedd Fisch, Arizona to Washington. It's going to be interesting. Again, we saw the Alabama exodus by a lot of those players when their 30-day transfer portal window open. Washington has had some players, not as many as Alabama, leave. I'm excited to see if Jedd Fisch can bring his guys, specifically Noah Fafita. We need Noah Fafita to get to Washington with Jedd Fisch because I think Jedd Fisch's offense, Noah Fafita, if he can continue to play in that, is going to be a superstar next year. It just depends on whether he wants to play in the Big 12, which Arizona is going to, or if he wants to play in the Big 10, which is where Washington is headed. So, and I think it also depends on who the new Arizona head coach is going to be. Mm-hmm. But big get for the Huskies there. Jedd Fisch, excellent rebuild at Arizona. Transfer portal. Speaking of Washington quarterback Will Rogers has re-entered the transfer portal. Transfer from Mississippi State to Washington. Now rethinking his decision after DeBoer left. That would be an interesting thing if Rogers follows DeBoer to Alabama. Is Jalen Milroe still the guy? Or does DeBoer, is there a competition? Will Rogers has all the passing records at Mississippi State. So, I don't know.
Could be.
And he can run the ball too. Not as effective as Jalen Milroe, of course, but that will be interesting to see if Will Rogers withdraws and stays at Washington with Jedd Fisch. I think it depends on Fafita. I think if Fafita goes to Washington, I don't think Rogers is going to want to go back to Washington to compete against a guy that already knows the system. That's a tough task. Liberty wide receiver CJ Daniels. He has committed to LSU. I'm telling you, 2025 draft, CJ Daniels is going to be one of the top 3 wide receivers because he went to LSU. Just saying. This kid is going to be a stud at LSU. Bookmark it. Write it down. CJ Daniels, 2025 NFL draft. Alabama wide receiver Isaiah Bond. He has committed to Texas. That is a massive get for Steve Sarkisian and Quinn Ewers. Bond, the leading receiver for Alabama this year, going to add to an already stellar cast. I haven't followed on who all is leaving and staying at Texas because I know they have a bunch of draft eligible guys. Jordan Whittington, Adonai Mitchell is going to the draft. I can't remember who else. But yeah. Going to be a good target for viewers. Alabama running back Roydell Williams. He is committed to Florida State, so they are getting another good running back as they lose some to the draft. Trey Benson and co. Washington State quarterback Cameron Ward. He has committed to Miami. So Ward initially entering the NFL draft has since taken that back and said, "Nah, I'm going to go play another season." Goes to one of the teams that he was considering, which was Florida State and Miami. Obviously, FSU got their guy in DJ Uyunglele. Goes to Miami. That's a big get for Miami. I think the Canes with Cam Ward at quarterback are going to be elevated next year. Alabama tight end Amari Niblack has entered the portal. Great target for anyone that needs a tight end out there. Bro, if Georgia could get Niblack and Ben Urasek from Stanford, the tight end parade in Georgia would just continue. We should just run like 14 personnel, just or 0-4 personnel. 0-4. Let's run 4 tight ends. South Alabama safety Yam Banks has committed to Ole Miss. Colorado State quarterback Clay Millen committed to Florida. Nebraska quarterback Chuba Purdy committed to San Jose State. Good get for Brent Brennan there. Texas A&M quarter Tony Grimes committed to UNLV. Barry Odom getting a good one. Former starter at UNC. TCU quarterback Chandler Morris has committed to North Texas. Texas safety Jaron Thompson, he is committed to Auburn. Holy Cross quarterback Matthew Saluka has committed to UNLV. So they lose Jade Mayava in the portal to USC. They get a good one. Matthew Saluka, decorated player at Holy Cross, coming across the country to UNLV. Barry Odom again gets another solid player in the transfer portal. And then USC wide receiver Dorian Singer has committed to Utah. Excellent player at Arizona. Didn't really get a chance a lot at USC, but pretty solid get in the portal by Kyle Whittingham and co. Draft declarations, Michigan with 3. Defensive lineman Chris Jenkins, running back Blake Corum, and quarterback J.J. McCarthy. They are all to the draft. USC quarterback Caleb Williams has officially declared for the draft today as well, just right now. Senior Bowl, South Dakota State running back Isaiah Davis, South Alabama quarterback Carter Bradley, and TCU running back Imani Bailey all going to Mobile. Carter Bradley obviously already there where South Alabama is. The UFL news. UFL Super Draft is currently ongoing. Started at noon or 1 p.m. Eastern. And have some solid players already selected. I'll give you some of the guys that have been selected. The draft order was San Antonio, Memphis, Houston, St. Louis, Michigan, DC, Arlington, and then Birmingham. And the Brahmas have selected Guardians quarterback Quentin Dormady. Showboats, they selected Birmingham safety Christian McFarland. The Roughnecks, they got Showboats running back Ezra Gray and Stars kicker Luis Aguilar. The Battlehawks, they got Generals safety Drayvon Askew Henry. Panthers, they got Stallions corner Nate Brooks. The Defenders got a couple of stars. Vipers quarterback Jalen McClendon and Stars wide receiver Chris Rowland. I did not see any names of note for the Renegades or the Stallions yet. Rosters for the UFL must be at or below 75 by midnight tonight, and free agency reopens tomorrow, so we'll see anyone not drafted in the dispersal drafts for each league or the super draft today. They will be free agents available starting tomorrow. NFL news. The Raiders defensive end Max Crosby, he has said he will request a trade if Antonio Pierce is not retained as the head coach, which Pierce has emerged as the leading candidate for the job. We'll see what the Raiders do here in the future. Coaching carousel. The Titans head coaching job. They've interviewed a bunch of guys or have slated to interview. Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka. Eagles offensive coordinator Brian Johnson. Texans offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick. Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn. Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn. And Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. Chargers interviewing a couple. Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken. And Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh. The first interview or first visit for Harbaugh in the coaching cycle. Michigan, again, fighting back to keep him, but we shall see if Harbaugh makes the jump back to the NFL after the national championship. Falcons head coach, they are interviewing Raiders interim head coach Antonio Pierce, and the Raiders head coaching search did officially get underway. They interviewed former Bills defensive coordinator Leslie Frazier, obviously Vikings head coach prior as well. Jaguars defensive coordinator position, they interviewed Ravens pass game coordinator Chris Hewitt. The Giants defensive coordinator position, they interviewed Chargers defensive coordinator Derek Ansley. And the Giants special teams coordinator, they interviewed 49ers assistant special teams coach Matt Harper. GM carousel, the Chargers, they interviewed Ravens director of player personnel Joe Hortiz. Injuries, 2 ACL tears yesterday. The Rams head in Tyler Higbee. He tore his ACL. Long road to recovery for next season. Horrendous play on a low hit as the ball was sailing high. Tried to go up and catch it. Got hit in the knee low. The Packers edge rusher Kingsley Enagbare. He also tore his ACL out for the playoffs. And then wildcard previews. I know we talked about these on Friday. Go through them real quick again. The Steelers at the Bills. It is a 10-point spread right now. And yes, here we go. I know this guy's not playing today, but it's going to be a good game. The Bills, I have to credit the Bills grounds crew and personnel. Like, they have done a fantastic job. I saw a video of the field and the stadium. Fantastic job getting that thing cleared. Fans are going to be sitting on snow pretty much because the shovelers that they paid were instructed just to clear the walkways because it wasn't worth clearing the seating areas. But yeah, go Steelers. I know there's not a lot of hope, but let's get her done in Buffalo. Monday Night Football. By the way, the Steelers total is 38.5 in that game. I like the under. That's 4:30 on CBS. Monday Night Football tonight. The Eagles at the Bucks. Jimmy is lone wolfing the Tampa Bay Bucks. 3 favorites going into Tampa. Lost 5 of the last 6. No AJ Brown. Jalen's banged up his finger. I don't know. Let's just get it done. I don't know how we're going to get it done, but somehow, some way, Nick Sirianni, figure it out. Call the freaking defense by yourself if you need to. But Baker's banged up as well. Hit him early and often. And, hopefully Darius Slay coming back will make a big difference and shut down Mike Evans because that's what they need. 43.5 is the total. I'm leaning on the under. 8:15 ABC, ESPN, and ESPN Plus. That's the show for today. I know it's a short one. There's a lot of other news that we will cover on Friday that's going on right now, but super hyped to be back on Monday shows. This was episode 200 of our Monday, Tuesday / Wednesday shows when we originally started. Cannot thank everyone enough for watching. I know there's not a lot of people that follow, but for those that do, I appreciate it. Appreciate everything that everyone that has been on the show to this point, especially my main people earlier with Rob Conquy, and then Chris Cherry and Mark Warren. and now with Logan Jaworski, Jimmy O'Malley, and coming up this spring, it will be my mentee, Ben Ratty, will be on the show on Mondays. Thank y'all for watching. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcasts on Instagram and X, FAA_bets on X, FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TikTok at Football Addicts, and Non-Conference Championship Week next Monday.